Thank you for tuning in to my channel today and watching my video. I'm going to be doing a little bit of a different video than I usually do. Usually my videos where I do projects, I speed them up and put music on. The main reason I do that is because I'm in a house with two teenagers, a 9-year-old and my husband who works shifts. So it's quite difficult unless I do things really late at night to find time where I can either talk or do a voiceover. So for me it's a lot easier, but I really wanted to start to do some process videos where I'm creating a project, not just doing like a show and tell of something I bought, that were more where I could talk to you as I went along and did it more in real time. So I found a space in the day today where I can hopefully get a small project done. And so my idea is that when I do these videos, if I do something like a little Memorydex card that hopefully won't take too long, because I don't also want my videos to be going on so that you have to put hours aside, which a lot of my mixed media will take. So I can do some little Memorydex cards to go on my Heidi Swap Memorydex spinner even. I have had this spinner for quite a while. I've done a fair few Memorydex cards, but it's something that I want to do more of, and they're a nice little project to do when you want to maybe try out some techniques, try out some new products, or you just want to do a little bit of crafting but you don't want to spend ages. So I'm going to be doing one of these today, and I thought I would use some products that have just literally arrived this morning, and they are some stamps and a stencil by Aall and Create that my husband has very kindly paid for me as part of our anniversary, which is later on in June. Well, maybe I said I'll buy them and then I might have persuaded him that they could be my anniversary present. That's probably more like it. But this set here in particular I have been looking at for a really long time, and the main reason is because I love these light bulbs. I'll get it out of the packaging because I'm sure that the glare is not helpful. Now these ones I have got today I bought from Julia Watt's crafts website. I know you can get them from other places, but just to let you know, that's where I got them from, and I will link her website down in the description box. These were paid for, they have not been sent to me for free or anything like that. This is from my own, well, my husband's own money. So it's not sponsored in any way. And I got the big one because I thought these bulbs would go really well with the light bulbs that I've recently purchased from the Stamperia mold, that the Stamperia mold makes, I should say. And I have got a couple of videos where I decorated them and then used them up on my channel, so I thought they would be lovely. I love the shape. Also, this man here, I thought he would go really good with the steampunk. I know this is called the Alchemist set, a Steampunk Alchemist, but just for steampunk in general with his monocle, I think he's fantastic. I hadn't really took much notice of this one here. Let me lift it up. This part skull that's sort of like a diagram. I just absolutely love that. Got a couple more diagrams at the top, but then these bottles are something I love. Old pharmacy type bottles. When I did a project, when I was doing my degree, I was doing a teaching degree and my subject was history, I did a whole assignment based around old pharmacies, and so because of that I also decided that I would quite like this extra little stamp set, which gives some different shaped bottles that would go with them as well. And to stick with the steampunk theme, I went for this stencil, which I absolutely adore. I love numbers and I love cogs, so it was just, you know, ideal. So I thought I would use some of the different elements. I possibly won't use the extra bottles, but I am thinking that I will use elements from this stamp set and the stencil just to create a quick little Memorydex card. So I have dies that cut two different shapes. I have ones that cut this sort of rectangle, and then I have ones that cut more of a flag shape. So we're going with the rectangle one today, and because I wanted to keep things fairly simple, I'm just going for my normal, so to speak, distress inks. I've got selection of colours that I wanted to go with that sort of steampunky, rusty theme. So we've got antique linen, salvage patina, vintage photo, walnut stain and peeled paint, and these are some of my favourite colours. When I'm using my distress inks, I do use a sort of a brush to blend my inks out. These are not branded ones, these are just ones that were makeup brushes that I bought online, and I find that they work quite well. They don't hold tons of ink, so you do need to sort of keep bringing the ink back in, so I'm just cleaning that off. But because they don't hold a lot of ink, it also means you don't get over inking. You can really control nicely the amount of ink that you have. So, and all I do is I don't keep one for any particular colour. I use them all because I've got different sizes. I use them all for all colours, and all I do is I just wipe them off onto a piece of kitchen roll in between. I am going to use my blending mat. This is one from Be Crafty, just so that I get a nice smooth application. And I generally, if I'm doing a blend onto something with distress inks, I start with my lightest colour. So this one is the antique linen. So I tend to hold my brush right at the top there because I don't want to put any pressure on that sort of the handle. So I'm just going to add some antique linen in a few spaces, a few places, and I tend to go for 3 just because it usually works pretty well. Now if I was going from a darker to a lighter colour, I would actually wipe that off, but because I'm going into vintage photo, which I know is darker than my antique linen, I'm not going to worry too much about it. So let's get a bit of antique vintage photo, and vintage photo has to be one of my all-time favourite distress colours. It's probably the one I use the most. I would say it just adds that bit of vintagey feel. And I've got a little bit of walnut stain just to darken up my edges a little bit, so you get a nice sort of graduation of different brown, sort of steampunky, rusty colours. And the new colour, the salvage patina, I find is especially lovely with these sorts of tones because it just gives a little bit of that patina-y sort of effect as well. I've got our brown base. Quite like that lighter spot in the middle. It wasn't intentional, it was just how it happened to work out. I'm just going to spritz my mat just to get rid of that bit of ink. Now if I was working normally, I would probably get my journal out and mop that up into my journal or onto another piece of card to make another Memorydex card or something like that. Okay, so now I'm going to use the stencil. So I'm going to pop it just on the side here. Now it's a sort of a different stencil in a way, because it's actually a mask, isn't it? Because the image is actually the bit that is the plastic, so to speak, the mylar. So you're inking the negative part rather than the positive part. I'm just going to clean my brush a little bit because I'm now going into the salvage patina. So give it. Now you could spray the back of this with some removable adhesive, repositionable adhesive, but I do tend to just hold things down with my fingers just because it's what I've always done, and usually things are quite easy to replace. So that did move slightly, but I just replace it back over where I was. I might actually just turn that and then reposition it again. So I just keep sort of, if you just add a little bit, and then you can always go back and add some more in if you're not happy. Did that move? I'm not sure, don't think so. And actually I'm going to take that. Oh, I really love that. I'm going to lift that up to the camera so you can have a little look closer at how that's gone. So it's more giving a bit of texture into the background of the Memorydex card. So I'm going to put that aside. I would just spritz that and just clean that a little bit. Let's get rid of a bit of that off of there. And then what I want to do, I'm going to use my peeled paint with one of the stamps to create some background interest. So I think I'm going to go, I really like that, but I'm sort of thinking of having a light bulb. One of the light bulbs is my focal point, so maybe actually we'll have this engineering type one at the back, at the top there. So these stamps haven't been used yet, they are fresh off of the set. So what I will do, because they are fresh off of the set, that's not going to fit, I'm going to find a block that will fit my stamp, and I'm going to just get a piece. I'm going to move that in case I need to heat anything, so I don't want to heat up on my mat. And I'm going to just get a piece of copy paper, just so that I can test and prime the stamp a little bit. Normally if I was going to prime it, I'd use something like an archival, because as it's a new stamp and this is a distress ink, it's probably going to bead up. In fact, I might actually do that in a moment. So let's just give that a stamp off to start with. Because when you get new stamps, actually it's come out quite well. When you get new stamps, what happens is they often have like a bit of a coating or something from the manufacturing process. I tend to not worry too much about washing them. I usually find if I use some archival ink, quite often stamps are fine straight away. And if they're not, just a couple of applications of archival ink really just helps them. So that's beautifully stamping there. So I want this quite subtle in the background, but if I find that it's too subtle, I may go over it with the black ink as well. And I do tend to use archival as my ink of choice, mostly because where I do quite a lot of art journaling and stamping into mixed media projects, I always know that archival will go on, you know, just about every surface. So let's give it a bit here. See how that goes. Oh, it's quite nice. I quite like that. It's not too dark. I might do something else in a. I'm not sure if you can see that on the camera, but I can certainly see that. And I'm going to just do a little bit at the top. And this is one of the reasons I do like clear stamps. To be fair, I like all stamps, but clear stamps are really good if you want to position really easily, because you can just see exactly where you actually. I'm going to go over a little bit on this one so that it gives a bit more across the top there. There we go. And I'm thinking I might go with something else in darker, just in the background. Now I am going to give that stamp a little spritz, just to, as you can see, all the ink that is still left on there. If I use archival, I don't worry. I tend to leave archival on my stamps. It doesn't damage the stamp, and it actually, the more you stamp and keep it with the archival, the better the stamping is, because the next lot of ink sticks to it better. But if I use something that is like a pigment ink or a distress ink, I do wash it off just to make sure that it's gone. So actually I might go with this eye actually and do that in black over the top, just to add another layer. So when I'm doing journaling, memory decks cards, mixed media, it's nearly always for me about creating layers. So even though I know sometimes people say, well, what's the point in putting down that bottom layer if you're not going to see it? But it's usually just about building up those textures, building up that bit of interest that, although you might not see it straight away in the background, when you look a bit closer you will see it a bit more. So let's put this down here, so we'll have it coming off so that it's just a little bit of darker interest on the top. Oh yes, like that. So we've got a little bit of scary skull eye going on. I'm just thinking, I'm really liking just that little bit of text. I'm wondering if I take it off the block, if I just take and just put where the texty bits are. I just want to add into this corner a bit of that text without anything else. And have we got a little bit probably still on there, just to add a little bit more on there as well. So pop that over there. So now I'm looking at it, I'm thinking I want my edges to be darker. So I'm going to take my walnut stain again, go back to my, I'm going to take a smaller brush, I think. Let's make sure it's clean before I start. You know, the amounts of times I pick up my brushes thinking they're clean. And I just want to really now, because I've now got that black going on, I feel like my edges need to be darkened up a bit more. What I could also have done is actually take my ink pad and just swipe around the edges as well. But I think I'm just going to carry on using the brushes I've started that way. And just really darken that. So, there we go with that bit. Let's move my ink pads out of the way. Let's move all this out of the way. Okay, so now I want to create my focal point, and it's going to be one of the light bulbs. Let's just pop the eyeball back on. And I also like having them like this, so you can sort of have a little look and see which, I think I'm going to go that side. I'm thinking this one here is probably the best suited in terms of sizing. So let's pop that on the block. And I have got here somewhere a piece of scrap watercolour card. Oh, I didn't say, I think I've initially cut my Memorydex card is out of either a mixed media or a watercolour card. I'm going to stamp in black because I want to use some watercolour brush markers for this stamp, and hopefully it's a simple shape so it won't take me too long to cut this one out. I'm going to use that bit that looks a bit cleaner. And when I'm stamping, I tend to make sure I'm keeping one hand on my block at all time so that it's not going to move, but also giving the stamp a bit of time for that ink to sink into the card, not taking it off straight away, because otherwise you're sort of not giving the card time to suck that ink in. So let's get my, oh, can't reach to my scissors. Let's go for them, those ones. And let's quickly-ish cut this out. So if you prefer chatty videos, do let me know in the, or if you'd like to see more, I should say, because most of my videos are still are not going to be chatty videos just because of time and life constraints. But if you like this sort of video and you'd like to see me do more of them, please do let me know in the comments below. Or let me know if there's any particular sort of styles of crafting that maybe I can do that you'd like to see on a Memorydex card, or a particular technique, if I'm capable, obviously, because I don't know how to do all techniques. But hopefully I would be able to have a go. I'm always happy to have a go and mess up on a video for you. So I normally, whenever I cut something out, and I am going to do it now, I get like a permanent black pen or sometimes the ink pad, and I just run around the raw edge, because I don't like seeing that. If I've stamped, especially if I've stamped in black, I don't like seeing that raw white edge. I always think it looks, to my eye, a bit unfinished on my project. So I like to just colour that in just so that it makes it tie in with the rest of my stamping. Let's quickly go in. This one is a, what is it? It's a uni pen. I sometimes use my Pitt markers because they're a permanent India ink. The reason I use a permanent pen is just because I'm usually watercolouring, so I don't want to make the pen run as I watercolour in. So there's my light bulb. Let's actually, I should lift it up too, shouldn't I really? There we go. It's really cute, I really love it. So you can have them, it could be dangling down. Do you know, I always automatically put them that way, and then when you think about it, most of the time when you see a light bulb, it is actually that way. So where it's going to go is still a mystery. I'm thinking possibly there. I could then draw a little thing, couldn't I, going up? So I'm thinking it's going to be dangling off of that side. And I'm going to use some of my Ecoline brush markers. I love these pens. I'm not sponsored by Ecoline at all. I just find them really easy to work with, and they're really lovely colours as well. Now I have got a water brush, and I'm going to get a little block just to put some of the colour on. You can colour directly onto your image, which actually I'll start by colouring directly on and watering out on here. Or what I often like to do is to scribble a bit onto a block and then use my water brush to lift the colour. But you can certainly also put it straight on and drag the colour out. I'm running out there, so I'll go on to there. And what I like about watercolour markers is you get immediate shading. You don't have to worry about different colour tones. You just take the colour you want, and just by dragging it out you're getting an immediate sort of effect. I won't overwork this, and I would probably normally just dry that in between, but I'm not going to. If you overwork it, then your paper, even if it's watercolour, will start to pill up a bit, and you'll start to get it lifting away. So let's do a bit of orange in the middle, a bit of orange down there. So I'm trying to get it so that it's darker in the middle, and then blending out towards the edges. You could also, once it was dry, use something like glossy accents or a glaze to just give it that sort of glassy look. I feel like I need to blend that out a bit more, so let's just blend that out a bit more. And then I'm thinking just for the top part of the bulb, I would have gone grey, but I haven't got a grey right in front of me, so I'm going to go with a browny colour. You don't have to water these out either, you can just leave them as pure colour. I am actually going to have to just give this a very quick blast, so here we go. Just give that a quick blast, and then I'm going to stick it to here. Now I'm going to use a white acrylic glue to stick it flat, just because on my Memorydex spinner I have got quite a few full cards. I did get asked once whether I had actually done mine upside down, that I should perhaps be decorating my cards that way up. Now, I think it doesn't really matter, but the reason I do them this way is because at the moment my Memorydex spinner isn't very full, so they all hang to the bottom. So if I did them on the other side, they would be upside down and probably back to front. What I'm thinking is that when it gets fuller and I've got them at the top as well, then I might decorate the backs of some of them. But let me know which way up do you do Memorydex cards if you do them. I'm always willing to be told I'm doing it wrong, or differently maybe I should say. I'm just going to give that a little wire to go to the top. Let's pop my pin in my glue so it doesn't seize up. Alright, and now all I need, because this is going to be a really simple card, is a sentiment. And I was going through a lot of my stickery type sentiments. I have all the usual chit chat stickers from Tim Holtz, but I actually discovered these ones that I've got a long time ago from France Papillon, called Butterfly Whispers Mixed Media Stickers, and I thought I'd have a look at these, and there was one on here that said there's a crack in everything, that's how the light gets in, and I just think that that goes beautifully with that light bulb there. So now these are mixed media stickers. I'm just thinking that that's now too long for my project unless it went across, but no, I don't want it to go across. So what I will do, I should have left it on there to cut, shouldn't I, thinking about it. I'm actually going to pop it on a little bit of card. So you could do this with your stickers if you not want them to be a little bit more sturdy. So I'm going to cut that out. And this way I can then cut it up a bit better as well, because I don't really want to try and cut through it being floppy. So let's cut it down the middle. So there's a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in. Now, they're not now straight, but I'm quite happy with that. There would have been a time I wasn't, but I've got used to the wonkiness. Now, there's still a little bit of the walnut stain on there. So just to tie those in a bit more, not make them quite so stark, I'm just going to pop a bit of the ink around the edges. And then I will stick them on with some of the same glue. And I tend to sort of like staggering them a little bit, and I usually do sort of like a bigger gap and then a smaller gap, so that they don't look like they're all equal. Is that the word I'm looking for? I'm not sure. Let's tap that one right over there. So there's a crack. I want that one a little bit higher, I think, in everything. That's how. So I'm going to stick that one closer to that one. Let's put that one maybe middle-ish, and then maybe that one right. No, maybe not. Maybe about there. They're looking a bit too evenly spaced for me at the moment. I wonder actually if I have that. Yes, I'm going to have that one across the bulb, just to give it a little bit of difference to the rest. That's how the light gets in. And I can spend so long fiddling about with where my sentiments go, but I'm trying to be a bit quicker for you today. So there we go, a really quick, for me, Memorydex card using the Aall and Create stamps and stencil and the stickers from France Papillon. So I hope that you enjoyed that. So if you do like these talky videos, do please leave me a comment underneath and let me know, and I'll hopefully try to get more of these done. And also if there's any techniques or styles you'd like to see on the Memorydex card, let me know. So thank you for watching. Bye.